Today we shall discuss the polarization by scattering. The light from a clear blue portion of the sky shows a rise and fall intensity when viewed through a Polaroid which is rotated. So whenever the Polaroid is rotated, the intensity is sometimes increasing, sometimes decreasing, because sunlight which has changed its direction on encountering the molecules of the Earth's atmosphere, this happens. This is called scattering. This is as shown in this figure. Here the unpolarized light is incident. Okay. Now when it is encountered by the particle, different particles which are present, then the light is getting scattered, and scattered light is found to be the polarized light. Okay. The incident sunlight is unpolarized. The dots stands for polarization perpendicular to the plane of the figure. So these E vectors or electric field intensity vectors are found to be perpendicular to the plane of the figure. The double arrow shows the polarization in the plane. Okay. So these are the symbols. This polarized, unpolarized light is incident here, and this are the scattered light which is a polarized light, and these dots are showing the electric field intensity vectors which are perpendicular to the plane of the figure. Under the influence of the electric field of the incident wave, the electrons in the molecules acquire component of motion in both these directions. We have drawn an observer looking at 90 degree to the direction of the sun. So here the observer is at 90 degree. Observer is at 90 degree here somewhere, and he is observing this beam of light. Okay, so the polarized light and the original path is making 90 degree angle with each other. Okay, here charges accelerating parallel to the double arrow do not radiate energy towards this observer, since their acceleration has no transverse component. The radiation scattered by the molecule is therefore represented by the dots. So the arrows are not present in this scattered light. It means the parallel component to the plane is absent, and perpendicular component is present in this scattered light. So only perpendicular component to the plane is present. Therefore, this light is a polarized light. Here both the components are present. Parallel component of E vector as well as the perpendicular component. Okay, or we can say E vectors are parallel to the plane as well as perpendicular. But here only the scattered light is only containing the perpendicular component. So it is a polarized light, we can say. Okay, the E vector is in only one direction. In figure, polarization of the blue scattered light from the sky is shown. The scattering of light by molecules was investigated by C.V. Raman and his collaborators in the year 1920s. Okay, Raman was awarded the Nobel Prize of Physics in 1930 for this work. Now, very important topic, that is polarization of light by the reflection, and we want to write the Brewster's law, and we will find the formula of Brewster's law also. Okay. Now, this scientist named Malus discovered that the reflected ray is partially plane polarized. Try to understand here. The ray which is incident on this glass medium, say for example, then this ray will be the refracted ray, but some light is reflected and this reflected light is found to be partially plane polarized, and this was found by the scientist Malus. Okay. Now, state of polarization of reflected ray depends on angle of incidence. He also practically found that whether this light is polarized or not, that depends on angle of incidence, or at which angle you are incidenting the light on this second medium. Okay, and on that incident angle, or we can say angle of incidence, the ray which is reflected depends its state of polarization, or state of polarization of this reflected ray depends on this angle of incidence. Okay, when a ray of light is incident on surface of transparent medium at some definite angle of incidence, the reflected ray is found to be totally plane polarized. As I have explained, that if you have a particular angle of incidence here, then this reflected ray becomes completely plane polarized. Okay. Now, see, in this state, all the light vectors in the reflected ray of light are parallel to each other and perpendicular to the plane of incidence. Try to understand. Here you have this unpolarized light. It means all the E vectors are present. This is unpolarized light. Now here this particular ray is a reflected ray. You have adjusted the angle of incidence in such a way that this light is obtained is a completely plane polarized. Now in this ray of light you will have the E vectors which are perpendicular to the plane, means they are shown by the dots. Okay, the E vectors which are parallel to the plane is shown by the arrow. Okay, here all the components are there, parallel as well as perpendicular to the plane. You can see here dots are also there and arrow are also there. So it is a mixture of all the E vectors, but in this reflected light, if this angle is so adjusted that this reflected light becomes completely plane polarized, then it will have only E vectors which are perpendicular to the plane. Okay, and other all the E vectors are going in this second medium or in the refracted ray, we can see. Now the names are given to this parallel and the perpendicular components of E vector. Okay, this perpendicular E vectors, or we can say perpendicular component of the E vector, is known as sigma component. Okay, so these sigma components are shown by dots. Here dots are there which are representing the sigma component. Okay, so dots are there and these arrows are showing the parallel component, which is nothing but the pi component. So there are two components, pi component and sigma components. Pi is parallel to the plane and sigma is the perpendicular component to the plane. Now here all the components are present, but in this reflected light, if this angle is so adjusted that this reflected light becomes completely plane polarized, then it will only have the sigma components. Okay, and other all components, okay, will go in this refracted ray. Now out of say 100% sigma components, only 15% of sigma components are reflected, and out of say 100% pi component, all the pi component, means 100% pi component will go in this refracted light. So in this reflected ray, which is plane polarized, is having only 15% of the sigma component. So this reflected polarized light will be a very weak light, or its intensity will be very low. Okay. In the refracted ray, there are 85% of sigma component which are going, and in reflected it will be 15%, and pi components are all moving towards this refracted light. Okay. Now just we have to apply the Snell's law at a point of incidence. Okay. Now here this angle at which you are getting this light to be completely plane polarized, this reflected ray is obtained to be completely plane polarized, then this particular angle is known as IB, or sometimes it is denoted by theta p, or angle of polarization, or it is denoted by the Brewster's angle, which is denoted by IB. Now if we apply the Snell's law here, then refractive index of medium say 2, this is our second medium, okay, and this is our first medium, then refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1, that is denoted by say mu, that will be sin IB upon sin R. Okay, this is the angle, that is IB, that is Brewster's angle. Now whenever this reflected light, try to understand, this reflected light becomes completely plane polarized, then it is found experimentally that the angle between this reflected ray, angle between the reflected ray and refracted ray, reflected ray is found to be 90 degree. This is found experimentally by Brewster. Okay, so now you can easily understand that this is a reflected ray, so angle of incidence and angle of reflection both are same, so this becomes IB, and this is nothing but angle of refraction. So now you can write IB plus 90 plus R is equal to 180, because this will give you total angle of 180 up to this. Okay, so IB plus R is equal to 90, you can write, okay, because this 90 goes on the other side, 180 minus 90 becomes 90. So instead of this R, you can write 90 minus IB, because IB plus R is 90. Okay, IB plus R is equal to 90. Therefore, this IB can be taken on the other side. So R will be 90 minus IB. In our equation, mu is equal to sin IB upon sin R. Instead of R, you can write 90 minus IB. So it becomes sin 90 minus IB. Okay, so this becomes 10 IB. So mu is equal to 10 IB. This equation is known as the Brewster's law. Okay, here our chapter 10 comes to an end. Okay, theory part already we have completed. Now this is the equation. Okay, that is mu is equal to 10 IB. Okay, it has been clearly explained here, sin IB upon sin R. But R is 90 minus IB, so instead of R they have substituted this value. Okay, so it becomes 90 minus IB will become cos IB. So sin IB upon cos IB will give you 10 IB. Okay, so we have completed this chapter. Now next time we shall discuss the examples and the numerical. Okay, thank you very much.